Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have Alex Kravchenko, goes to Jeunes Sans Frontières High School.
Yeah, I think learning French, being bilingual, proficiently bilingual at like 18 is definitely a superpower.
You are born and raised in
Brampton, Ontario.
Brampton, Ontario.
Or Bangladesh or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There's tons of nicknames.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wrote on my script here, Brampton, India.
I don't really see why people kind of hate it that much. Sure, everyone in there is Indian, but what have Indian people done to you?
You said both your parents are Ukrainian?
My dad's half Ukrainian Russian. My mom's Ukrainian.
In your household, like, what is the conversation like?
Oh,
is
yeah.
there a conversation still?
Every day. Like every day I come home, my mom and my dad, they're watching videos on Ukraine, Russia, like the daily movements on the front. They're like super into that. Putin, I think he's a really smart guy. There's no way you can stay in power, like manage your enemies, manage your threats for like almost 25 years now. Also, another thing I would say that gained me the most confidence was working out, right? Being comfortable in your own body. I started working out because I want to get big and I want to be jacked, like all the girls to like me, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of realized that it's really not that. So the only reason I'm doing aerospace is my original plan was to be a pilot, fly for the Air Force, like search and rescue helicopter. That's like my dream and still is, but you need to get a medical, right? My whole dream just kind of melted away. Sweet.
I haven't recorded one of these in maybe a month, so
Podcast?
I'm gonna be a little rusty too.
Okay. You just do a bunch at once?
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Does that every English class?
Recorded a bunch in advance at the
Oh,
end of the
okay.
school year.
What's the pickup range here?
I'd say 2 fists. Okay.
2 fists. How do you measure 2 fists from the microphone?
Oh, okay. Nice.
Anyways, let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the VoV podcast, Voices of Vic. We're back in Orangeville. Happy summer, by the way, Alex.
Thank you.
How's your? Oh, you're still in for you. Though,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we have my brother's good friend here, Alex Kravchenko, goes to Jeunes Sans Frontières High School.
Yeah.
How's the experience been? You're almost wrapped up.
In Jeunes Sans Frontières or in high school?
Yeah, Jeunes Sans Frontières. Did you start in grade 7?
Yeah, grade 7.
Okay, so you got I did grade 9 to 12.
Yeah.
You did the whole experience.
It's definitely underfunded, that's for sure. But learning French, I think, is the only point for the school.
Fair.
Like it's French, so government doesn't give it much funding and lacks a lot of things.
I actually hear that because when I was in school, they made us do this whole montage video when Doug Ford was trying to I don't know if he was trying to kick out the French schools from the province in the first place or if he was once again maybe just trying to lower the funding. Anyways, they got all the students. I had to edit the video. They got because I did these YouTube things at the time. They're like, Carter, you know how to edit? I was trash, but basically, I mean, I don't know if anyone else knew how either, but that I didn't think of that it was underfunded. But yeah,
it's like definitely a sacrifice. You know, gotta sacrifice some things to get another. I think learning French, being bilingual, like proficiently bilingual at like 18 is definitely a superpower.
Yep.
It's gonna be very useful. But also we didn't get the full high school experience. Like very few sports team. There was no football team. Like would love that. No like car shop, wood shop. The teacher left in grade 9, never came back. Never
Really?
found a replacement either.
Really?
Yeah. So just a whole room full of $1,000 of equipment. No one to teach that. So
That's crazy.
what? Hey, I learned French. Right?
What happened with him? Did he smack a kid in the face or something?
No, I think he just retired. That was like
Oh,
I forgot his name. But yeah, I think you're thinking of another teacher. She was definitely one of the best. She was the best. She cared a lot for education. But the new principal that came in, he was super loose on punishing students who
Right.
assaulted teachers. So she got assaulted by the same guy 3 times. Or I'm not sure if the same guy, 1 or 2 times. And he didn't even get expelled. He didn't get any punishment. So she's like, come on.
That's crazy.
A bunch with a lot of other things. Like someone put tires under her car. And nails under her wheels.
Oh, shoot.
And they popped, right? And then she's like, yeah, she left.
I would leave too.
Yeah, it's understandable.
That's
and
insane.
School lost a really good teacher.
And that principal, is he done now?
Is
he coming back?
He's part-time now.
Oh wow,
He's also a life coach.
a life coach. We should get him on this podcast.
We should get him. Yeah, that would be interesting actually.
Did you
We'd
get?
love to.
Has he got you any good advice?
From him?
Yeah.
Every morning it's kind of what you would imagine in like communism or something like that. Every
Mhm.
morning he says the same thing on the intercom. He's like, "Don't forget, you are important. You are loved." Every morning, same thing. It's kind of weird. Like he's brainwashing us, but
Yeah, that's a tough one. I had the same thing with my elementary school. When I left Quatre-Rivières, they brought in a new principal.
yeah.
The principal left with our class, and the principal we had, Madame Farrow, shout out, she's watching, was fantastic. She was strict, but she was fair, and she was a genuinely kind person. But apparently this new principal was just like, none of the students liked her, none of the teachers liked her, and it was a mess. So apparently I think I was lucky to skip some of these bad experiences.
But
But
it's free education, right? You can't complain.
good point.
People on the other side of the world who did love the ability just to go to school, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to TMU.
TMU for aerospace engineering, yeah.
You excited?
Kind of TMU. They kind of take everyone, but
Yeah.
I feel like with engineering, they're gonna weed out a lot of people first year.
I would
for
think
sure.
that, yeah. Absolutely.
So see how that goes. Because right now, grade 12, I don't know if you guys have the same experience. It's kind of a joke,
Right.
you know. Second semester, like seniors. How do you say that?
Which one?
Seniorisis? I don't know. This like thing you get when you're in grade 12, your last semester, kind of stop caring for high school.
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh, this doesn't matter. I already got it in. I already made it to my uni.
Yeah.
And like, why should I even go to class? Why should I even try?
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
2 spares in 1 semester. Physics class, we don't do anything.
Right.
He just sits down, like work on your project for the
That's-
past 2 weeks. past month.
That's tough.
Yeah.
It's hard to see because when I was getting into JSF in 2017, I think that was my first
Yeah.
year, 2017. Right before I showed up, it was like I think number 13 in Ontario.
It used to be really highly rated.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got the rating, but
I don't know once again what exactly happened for it to fall off. I don't want to say it was my fault because I showed up there and I made everyone stupid, but it was like very highly respected.
right.
The teachers I think are still really good, at least from I don't know what your experience
Like
is.
yeah,
but
the teachers who have been there for a while, like the specialized teachers are good.
Yeah.
They're lacking in other categories though.
that's
Like,
fair. That's fair.
We've never had a proper history teacher since I think 2021. There's been a few scandals with the gym teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. You know what's funny is that in our time we used to make jokes about
Right.
that kind of thing, but he was never caught out for anything bad.
No, everyone made jokes about it.
Yeah.
They kind of
And then it ended, up,
came out.
it ended up becoming real. We manifested it,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
I think he got off though.
Did he?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He beat the case.
Okay. Well, he's not. I don't think he's want to come back
No,
anyways.
no.
So you are born and raised in Brampton.
Brampton, Ontario.
Brampton, Ontario.
Or Bangladesh or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There's tons of nicknames.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wrote on my script here, Brampton, India.
Brampton, yeah,
That's a
there you
new
go.
one.
Another one.
Yeah. But you've enjoyed your experience, your upbringing, because I feel like it gets a lot of hate, at least from native Canadians.
Yeah, so I feel like Brampton is like the armpit of Ontario, of Canada. Like everyone in the GTA is like, "Oh, you're from Brampton?" Like, ew, that's what everyone says.
Yeah.
But I don't really see why people kind of hate it that much. It's kind of, I guess, sure, everyone in there is Indian, but what have Indian people done to you?
Right.
Like, to me, my experience with my neighbors has been amazing.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything. Like they bring treats on Diwali to the whole neighborhood, like every year. There's another thing. People say the Brampton drivers are bad, but I just feel like there's bad drivers everywhere.
Right.
Like bad drivers here in Orangeville, in Toronto, right?
I hear you.
So I don't know. Is there a statistic for that for Brampton
I-
driving ability?
I don't know about driving ability. I'm sure I could maybe look something up, but for me, when people talk about Brampton driving, all you got to do for me is to Google or go on YouTube and look up Indian traffic.
That's true.
And when you see the way that they drive, it's like it's not necessarily you're a bad driver. It's just like the rules are way looser.
It's kind of, yeah.
There.
They just do your own thing
Yeah.
and
Don't hit anyone.
don't hit anyone.
Yeah, literally. So that I think that then has translated over where then the drivers are used to the experience in India, and it's less strict there.
Yeah.
So their mindset here is like, whatever, I'm not going to hit anyone. I can do whatever.
But yeah, that's also like from my dad. He's from Ukraine, and my mom as well. And there, that's like kind of a second world country.
Yeah.
The driving laws there are less strict as well. You can kind of
Yeah.
do your own thing. If there's traffic, you just go on oncoming and skip it all.
Yeah.
But then you don't hear people saying Ukrainians are bad drivers.
Exactly.
So
That's a good point. But yeah, that's true. And I think the problem is that there isn't any city where you see like
that's
such
true.
a highly congested
Yeah.
Ukrainian population. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? It's only because Brampton has so many Indians that it's noticeable.
I mean, yeah, I guess I learned to drive in Brampton and been driving 2 years clean. So
There you go.
I don't know if I'm
No-
a bad
no
driver.
accidents.
Yeah.
No accidents?
No accidents, nothing.
Good
Parking
job.
ticket.
Parking.
Halton Hills, they got me. Can't
That's
park
fine.
overnight in the winter.
That's fine. I got a parking ticket right outside my house. It was for the dumbest thing ever. Right on the corner of the street. You're not allowed to park on the
Oh, yeah.
outside of the bend, like too close to the outside of the bend of the street here.
Mhm.
I don't know who was being so nitpicky. It was literally, I'm not exaggerating when I say less than 6 inch from
Really?
the line where I was
Wow,
supposed to be
okay.
behind. But they got my ass for it. So now I'm super paranoid anytime I get out there. It wasn't anything too serious. It was
Yeah,
25 bucks.
the ticket officer got me at 4 a.m. Like, just- like,
Yeah.
don't you have a family or something? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess everyone has to do what they do to
He's hustling.
hustle for their
Yeah.
family, I guess, to make money. But like 4 a.m., like you can like, I don't know, like let it slide.
Take it easy.
And
a
I
bit.
think the law is you can't park overnight because of the snow, right?
Yeah.
The trucks stay.
Was it in
plowed.
the winter?
It was the winter, but this winter there was no snow, right?
Right.
It was like not. We had like 2 snowfalls maybe in Halton and Georgetown, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess there's the law. You can't circumnavigate it, but it is what it is. Yeah.
That's life. You say Troy was telling me that you said both your parents are Ukrainian?
Yeah, my dad's half Ukrainian Russian. My mom's Ukrainian. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. How is that? Because he's like, ask Alex about questions about
so-
Russia, Ukraine.
Um.
In your household, like, what is the conversation like?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
there a conversation still?
Every day. Like every day I come home, my mom and my dad they're watching videos on Ukraine, Russia, like the daily movements on the front. They're
Yep.
like super into that. I
Yep.
think myself, I love watching those videos. Like, oh, the front line has moved like here. This
Yeah.
is what's happening in that city. But yeah, my dad's half Russian. Most of his family's in Ukraine actually, so there is everyone kind of agrees on Ukrainian side.
Got it.
But the family in Russia, they're for Russia,
Right.
because they're old and there's like propaganda everywhere in Russia. So they're obviously saying, "Oh, Ukraine is bad. We gotta." Well, not bad. I don't know what they're saying in there, but Russia's doing what they're doing. It's good, and everyone in Russia they kind of are rooting for Putin. They think Putin's the guy, and Ukraine's the enemy. NATO's the enemy, right? That's what they're saying.
Right.
Like Ukraine's a NATO. Sorry, Ukraine is a puppet for NATO, right? Zelensky's the puppet,
Right.
and like American capitalism, NATO expansionism, like
Yeah.
all of that.
And so you're saying you think it's more propaganda. Is that also what your parents are saying? Like, do you think that even like your dad's half Russian, half Ukraine, is he like more Ukraine side though?
Oh, 100% he's on the Ukrainian side.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but I've never understood the Russian reason for the invasion. I don't know, like what he would want in Ukraine.
Right.
No
That's
clue.
good. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't actually end up even watching. There was a whole interview there with Putin and Tucker Carlson.
Oh yeah,
And I think I heard a good take on it is that at the very start of the interview, it was very slow because Putin went on for however many minutes about like Russian history dating back
Yeah.
to like the 1300s or something. And all the people, all the American viewers, the casual watchers who don't really have that much of a vested interest kind of got bored and just clicked off.
exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like people aren't going to become too educated on it if you
No.
have a guy who's just slowly telling you facts from centuries ago.
But yeah, like, do you think President Biden would be able to last a 2-hour interview with Tucker Carlson?
That's a good point.
Like, we have Putin. I think he's a really smart guy. There's no way you can stay in position, in power, like manage your enemies, manage your threats for like almost 25 years now.
Good point.
Like he's got to be really smart to do that. But then he's a good leader, I guess. He knows what to do to get his way. When you look at Biden, he can't even like talk properly, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a good point. And like people will try to give flack because I heard the same thing. Candace Owens said the same thing, and everyone was coming after her, like, how can you say Putin is a good leader, blah blah blah, look at all the terrible things he's done. But I don't think we're talking about his character as a person necessarily, just in terms of some leadership qualities that clearly someone like Joe Biden we can see might not have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It takes like intelligence to lead a country for 20 years and not get like assassinated, not get overrun. Strength, yeah. Like power. He definitely has power.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder, once again, I don't know much about the situation. I had a podcast that went up, like the most recent one. This one's going to be a little later. Episode 61, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. When we're recording this, we're at 57. Okay. So I just posted a conversation I had with a guy about Israel Palestine.
Right. Yeah.
And I put a disclaimer at the start because I don't talk about wars ever.
Okay.
For the main reason that I just don't think I can genuinely understand them enough, and maybe I could, but I just don't have the time.
Yeah, you can't like learn every single detail in every single war and then talk about it.
Exactly.
You can upset. It's kind of hard to like talk about it if you don't know everything, you know.
Yeah.
Like especially Israel and Palestine, that conflict is super deep. There's so much history in that.
Yeah.
And you gotta like sit down, like study it for like 5 hours to fully understand it. And even then, you won't.
Oh yeah, no, far more than 5 hours. I would say there's a ton of work, and this is the thing that, once again, there might be a right side and a wrong side with that. There might be a right side and a wrong side with Russia, Ukraine, but I think the issue is that most of the people who talk about it are nowhere near knowledgeable enough to have a credible opinion or credible commentary that I would trust. So like when you see a lot of these protests, once again, not against pro-Israel, pro-Palestine, pro-Russia, pro-Ukraine. I'm not against any of this stuff. I'm not for it. It's just, I don't think that most of these people have a genuine understanding of the history of how it got to that point.
They're just there to be there because
right.
His friend is like, oh, should come protest XYZ. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just look at everyone's Instagram stories nowadays. They're like supporting this, that, and then you like, ask them a question. Oh, like, what does this mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I saw some guy post. There's like a conflict in Sudan. I never knew about that, and I doubt he would know either.
Right. It's there's got to be a term for it, but it's like social justice trend hopping.
Oh yeah.
Where these people are trying to, they're posting stuff to make them seem good, but they're actually not helping jack shit.
Yeah, they're trying to fit in, like, with social justice. Right?
Yeah,
that's the new thing, I guess.
Yeah,
fitting in, posting it on your Instagram story. Like, I support this, I hate this.
Yeah,
like me, guys.
Yeah, literally. No, it's asking people to not.
Yeah.
To not, I don't know, have a disfavorable opinion about them. Whereas for me, I'm not going to lie about myself. I don't understand the issue enough to care about it.
Yeah.
This is a problem. And that sounds really bad, but I'm not going to be ignorant and post a thing that 2 years later I'm going to be like, I shouldn't have said that. I didn't know what I was talking about. I'm only going to give an opinion if I feel I have a good enough base of what's actually happening to post about.
Yeah, that's the smartest thing you do. You can't just shoot out an opinion into the void and like hope it's the right one or hope it's like grounded in logic. You just can't do that.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Let's talk more about, go back to your program. I think it's interesting.
Right?
Aerospace. Yeah. Very cool. I think it's interesting how you made a good point. You're like, yeah, everyone gets into TMU, but when you see engineering as the program title, I see that like TMU aerospace seems a little bit more respectable than like U of T art or like U of T painting. You know what I mean?
Like if I was hiring someone, I don't know, say at a bank, right? I would definitely pick the engineer over the art student.
Yeah.
Not because art is bad, but I feel like engineering would be a harder program and it's definitely a way to measure people's like hardworking skills or intelligence or critical thinking, all of the above.
Absolutely.
That's why most engineers, they don't even work, or most people who graduate in engineering,
Yep.
Or not most, but a few people, like a good amount. They don't end up working in engineering.
Really?
They go into like banking, into like data science and stuff like that.
Wow.
Because it's just a good way to prove you are someone who is respectable, who's smart, and who can get the job done, right?
Capable of doing difficult things.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So going into it, like when you talk to your friends about it, do you get, I guess, flack for going to TMU? Like, do you have any nerd friends who are like, yeah, I'm in U of T? That kind of thing?
I feel like there's definitely, in high school at least, when everyone's applying, everyone's thinking, oh, I want to one-up this guy. I want to get into a better school, better program. But then you got to realize this is like life you're at. This is your career. This is no longer a game.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just, it's not like tag at the park. You gotta beat that friend to your left. You gotta realize you have to pick what's best for you. And I don't know, U of T engineering, it's really rigorous.
Yeah.
And if you can go to Ryerson or TMU and get the same diploma, and most jobs don't care anyways, right?
Right.
What's the point?
Yeah. It's a good point. It's a good point. Are you moving down there? Or are you going to commute?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have a grandpa who lives downtown.
That's awesome.
Subsidized housing, so I'll like have really cheap rent.
Yep.
And it's like 30 minutes to the campus. So
very good. Very good. What are some of like the main things you have like circling in your mind when you're thinking about going there to study? Are you worried about the social aspect, or are you just worried about the academic side? Is there anything else? Because I know that I'm trying to put myself back in my own shoes when I was getting into U of T, when I was the summer before my first year.
One thing I'm most afraid of is like, I want to make friends. I want to make connections. I heard TMU is like a commuter school.
Yeah.
Everyone goes there for the day, comes back for the night. So I hope I'll be able to meet people there and like grow the connection, grow your network, because that's what university is, like meeting people, meeting educated people who will help you out, maybe hopefully later in life.
Yeah.
So if everyone's just going back home, like where am I going to meet them, right?
Right. That's a good point.
It's not me. I'll meet them, but am I going to grow a connection to them, right? Like, are we going to go out for dinner, or I don't know, like out for coffee, or like, I don't know, spend time together to like grow that connection? So like hopefully in 5 years, I'll be like, oh yeah, that guy, I know him. We used to be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. And from what I've heard about TMU, at least comparing to U of T, is that the lecture environment is actually much more joyful than U of
Really?
T. U of T apparently, well, not apparently, I've been there. The lecture setting is a lot more depressing
And stressful.
whereas TMU, I think the reason is because that's the only time students have to interact with each other.
Oh, I see.
Whereas U of T, you can interact off campus. So when you're in lecture, everyone's like, whatever. Like, I don't need to talk to this guy because I have friends that I talk to in other places.
Exactly.
So in lectures, it's dead. But at TMU, because like you said, I didn't actually know it was a commuter school. The reason is maybe, I don't know, I'm not trying to give advice, but like maybe get there early, stay a little late to talk to people, especially in the beginning, because everyone's open to talking to anybody.
Everyone's going to be new. Yeah. Everyone's going to want to make friends, but no one actually has the courage to talk to people, to walk up to that person.
Yeah.
So I guess that's
100%.
what I have to do.
100%.
Go out of your comfort zone. Right?
Exactly. And we're drinking bubblies right now. Troy showed me the video of you and him bringing cases to the class.
Yeah, so
that was pretty cool. I was just saying that because you seem like a social guy. So
I actually, like, up until grade 9, 10, I wouldn't call myself a social guy.
No.
I don't know what happened. It just, over the summer of grade 10, 11, my parents signed me up for like this camp at U of T, actually, right?
there you go.
I spent 3 weeks there, and I kind of realized how people are, and like how everyone's just afraid. Everyone's in their shell.
Yeah.
You look at someone like, oh, he doesn't want to talk to you, but deep down he wouldn't mind a conversation, right? Everyone's kind of secluded. If you just have to make the step. It's also like, we all had that phase when we were like kind of wearing the wrong things, like had the wrong haircuts or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of like the bum in high school. But then as you like go out more, like in life, or not in life, like outside, you see how people act, you see what they wear, how to be more like socially acceptable. And then you kind of gain confidence from that.
That's good.
Also, another thing I would say that gained me the most confidence was just working out, right?
Yeah.
Being comfortable in your own body. So I started, I guess, in grade 9, like just doing push-ups in my basement. I feel like
Nice.
every guy started there, right?
Nice. A lot earlier than I started, so congrats on
Yeah,
that.
and then kind of made my way to like Good Life Fitness.
Yeah.
And just, I guess, being comfortable who you are is the biggest thing when it comes to confidence.
Yeah.
Like knowing that you look okay and no one's really going to judge you for how you look.
Yeah.
It's a big part.
So when it comes to, that's a good point you make about fitness. We do talk a decent amount with guests about that specific thing, because as the host here, I like to say that I provide a platform where guests can talk about whatever they want, and they do. And I have guests who, once again, we have the forum, whatever their interests are. I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about what I like. I'm going to sit here and ask you questions about things you're interested in, because
it's a podcast.
It's a podcast. That's exactly what you have to do. But even though I understand that, as the host, I have ways to gear conversations into things that I think could be positive for a U of T audience, because that's mainly who listens to this. And fitness is a big one. And I obviously I go to the gym now. I didn't used to. I go to the gym. I started about 2 years ago, only like going consistently.
Right.
And it's changed my life.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Like just the chemicals, like the science behind it, like so many chemicals like testosterone, endorphins that are released after you work out. It makes you feel great, you know, because that's what humans used to do back in the day, just run around hunting deer, right?
Yeah.
And that would give them their drive. That would make them feel good.
Exactly.
Just when you sit on a chair all day, it's kind of, you don't have that same stimulation that your body needs, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I started working out because I want to get big and I want to be jacked, like all the girls to like me, you know?
Yeah.
But then I kind of realized that it's really not that. It's just staying in movement, right? Working out is to keep your body moving, right? Not to be jacked, have huge muscles, because you need like steroids for that, right?
Yeah.
Because everything we see online is like, oh, like CBum, like Trend Twins are huge.
Yeah.
But to like attain that naturally is like impossible.
Yeah.
So you gotta just realize that working out is good for you, and then the benefit to that is getting big as well. So it's kind of what comes onto the side.
Yeah.
You don't have to focus on that.
100%.
Because if you focus on size, then you'll just go down this giant rabbit hole of, like, I think, body insecurity, and you'll just start exactly where you were.
Right.
Just getting bigger. It's kind of like, how much money is enough?
Good point.
How
Yeah.
many muscles is, like, how big of your muscles is enough, right?
Yeah. 100%. And it's the confidence thing goes both ways. I think it's interesting because it's a different version, a different, I guess, font, if you want to say, a different font of confidence when you're interacting with men and when you're interacting with women. So I'm just talking about as a man myself. You say, like, at the start, all the guys are like, yeah, I want all the girls to like me, you know, big muscles, this kind of thing. And I think the thing is just that when you aren't comfortable with your body, and this is actually a different point, not just a sidetrack. I think it's a dumb mistake to tell people to be confident in their weak version. You know what I mean? When people say, just be confident in yourself and love yourself the way you are, I don't necessarily believe in that, because there's self-improvement is a thing for a reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you should be confident, but if you think that being confident while you're in shape is not going to be better than faking confidence when you're thin as a stick. I can speak from personal experience. I feel much better knowing that I've kind of filled out a little bit, and I'm stronger than I used to be. Because when a dude walks in the room, this happened in the first year. I can think of times. Every guy can think of times this happens. When a guy walks in a room, and let's say maybe there's a girl you like who's in there, the same room as you, and you know that dude could probably beat the shit out of you.
And he looks like massive compared to you. You're just a little snail.
Exactly.
Kind of. It really hits you.
It feels terrible.
Yeah.
So when you know that you've put in a decent amount of work and effort into knowing I am a good match for most men who will then walk into my room, you feel a lot better about yourself.
I feel like that's, like by, like, subconsciously, like, that's how humans were raised, right?
Yeah.
You gotta realize that if I want to get what I want, and there's gonna be big men in the way, right?
Yeah.
And, like, nothing's better than like a business leader, like a CEO who's, like, jacked, right? He just commands so much authority, right?
Yeah.
Like, everyone who I know who, like, owns a business, they're somewhat in shape.
Yep.
right? They command authority, right? So that's definitely a factor. Like I think there's a statistic, 90% of millionaires are over 6 foot, right?
Wow.
The size gives them like confidence, it gives them authority, it gives them power. People want to listen to them, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's a good point. It's completely true. And that's an interesting thing about height, because height is one of the few things that you kind of don't have much control over. And this is something that short people often say. They're like, what can I do? What am I supposed to do if I'm 5'6"? And I think the answer is kind of just to do the same things as if you were 6 feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. If you let that get into your mind, oh, I'm 5'6", I can't do this, I can't do that, then you'll just not do anything. But just, if you believe, not just believe, just everyone could do everything. I don't think height is that big of a thing.
Right.
Like there's no way 6 inches is what determines whether you are like mega rich.
Yeah.
It's the confidence, right? And confidence is like a chemical
Yeah.
in your brain, so it can be stimulated in different ways. Right?
Yeah. I think that people would be much better off just every single day confronting their insecurities. I think people try to hide away from their insecurities.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can literally just take a pen and paper and write them down and read it and be like, I'm a bitch.
Yeah.
I need to fix everything on this list. When you can kind of have that just like, I guess, war mentality of like, I'm going to get through everything that makes me feel lesser. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's a very happy way to live or peaceful.
Not at all. But
it's stressful.
If you did that every day, you would become like the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Like you said, list down all the insecurities and then try to tackle them, like whatever it may be. Then eventually you'll just become really good all around, I guess. I don't know. I guess you'll always have insecurities. That's just how humans work, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think it's really important to face. How tall are you?
I don't know. I was 6'2", 6'4" with the right shoes.
Giant. Might be. I was gonna say the tallest on the podcast, but that's probably not true. We've had some big guys, but you are definitely way above the U of T average. Really? I can tell you that. And taller than me. I'm 5'11" and a half.
Okay, so 6 foot.
I'm yeah. Let's just say 6.
Who's gonna be measuring?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Troy measures, because every time we do the door frame, I used to walk around and be like, yeah, I'm 6 feet. I'm 6 feet. When I was like half an inch off, I was like, yeah, just round up. And Troy basically gaslit me into being like, you're short. You're 5'11" and a half. And I was like, all right.
You let that get in your head and like, oh, now you're going to think, oh, I can't be a millionaire because I'm not over 6 foot.
10% chance.
10% chance. Like, but that's not true. There's no way half an inch is what determines your success.
Exactly. Yeah. And an example I like to give is Kevin Hart. If me and you were trying to get the same girl as Kevin Hart, we would have zero chance.
We would have no chance.
We would have zero chance.
We would win, like, instantly.
Yeah. So there's just proof that there's different things that you can do to build yourself up that that are going to get you to that level. Because there are, if you think of like these 6 foot millionaires, right?
Yeah.
There's a version of these guys where even though they're 6 feet, let's say they're out of shape. They didn't work as hard in their jobs. They didn't study well. And now they aren't the versions that they are. Same with the short guy. There's a 5'6" version of the short guy who's a bum, and there's a 5'6" version who is
the best you can be. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, anyways, I think that's really cool. You said that not most, but there's a good amount of aerospace people or engineers in general who don't go into engineering.
I'm not too sure how that statistic is, but I know there's certainly a lot of people who just get engineering as like a good education, a good like foundation for their careers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think also as well, most millionaires or CEOs, they have engineering degrees, but they're not actively using those, right?
Right. Absolutely.
It's just a good foundation, I guess.
So I'll ask you what you want to do with that degree after, and take a quick break. The cameras are overheated a little.
No.
Okay, back at it.
Welcome back.
Quick break. I was asking you about the employment of aerospace engineers,
right?
And if you're planning on going in, because I was doing a bit of research before you got here. There's two kind of paths, traditional paths for aerospace engineer. You can either go into planes. Mm-hmm. So aeronautical, or astronautical spaceships, the cool shit.
Both are cool in my opinion.
They are. What do you prefer?
So yeah, so the only reason I'm doing aerospace is my original plan was to be a pilot,
Okay.
like fly for the Air Force, like search and rescue helicopter.
Yeah.
That's like my dream and still is. But I did air cadets
Okay.
and I worked my butt off there. And I got into the program where they teach you to learn to fly glider, like a plane without a motor. Like it gets towed up, and then dropped, and it kind of just glides down. So I got into that program, and in order to fly a glider, you need to get a medical, right? So I go to a doctor's office, get my medical, pass all the boxes, right? All the tests, and then the last test, color vision, right?
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh, shoot.
that was like, he's like, the color plate with the numbers.
Yeah.
Like I failed it completely. He's
Yeah.
like, wow, okay, that's bad.
That's tough.
So he's like, okay, I can send you this other place. They can do a more specific test to see if your color deficiency is still acceptable.
Yeah.
So I go to the other specialized doctor, still nothing. So kind of sitting in that chair, like my whole dream just kind of melted away in
That's
the
tough.
period of 5 minutes. Like I was like, that was like last time I cried or something.
Damn.
I remember that was pretty
How long
traumatic.
ago was that?
That was a grade 10.
Grade 10.
That grade 10 me was really upset over that.
Yeah.
So then I guess aerospace engineering is the closest thing you can do to be a pilot. But yeah, which would I rather pick? Like aeronautical or planes? No, I don't really care. Whatever the job has. You know?
Yeah.
Like also there's aerospace going to like Formula One.
Yeah.
They like aerodynamicists. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like working for an F1 team.
Yeah.
I don't think anything can top that, right?
And that's, I think, something that is reserved for like the smartest of the smart,
Probably, yeah.
because a lot of these guys, like nowadays, sports management programs are a lot bigger, and like people try to get into basketball, hockey, this type of thing, but like the scientists are going to things like F1. Like I don't think you have many physicists in hockey or basketball.
Probably not, no.
So this is, I heard, do you know Alex Hormozy?
Was he like an athlete?
He's like a business guy.
No.
Anyways, he was talking about how the harder certain tasks are, the harder a challenge might be.
Mm-hmm.
He said he sees that as it's more inviting. So when I think of what you're doing, even though aerospace engineering is an insanely difficult program, I would think, it is also linked to the idea that there's going to be less people who are competing to get into that job.
Right.
So getting onto an F1 team, there might be, it's very hard, but I think there's going to be less people trying to do that than trying to be the GM of the Leafs.
Exactly, yeah. Couldn't
So-
have said it any better. Like humans, they love the challenge.
Yeah.
Like why do people climb Mount Everest? They're always looking for the biggest mountain, right?
Yeah.
Just to overcome that. But for me, I wouldn't say it's like overcoming a challenge. It's just what I like personally deeply love to do.
Yeah.
Like I can look up into the sky and just by the shape of a plane, I'll tell you what exact model it is, right?
That's sweet.
How many people it fits, like the range or whatever, Boeing or Airbus. So it's kind of like, I guess I'm a nerd. I'm a geek to that, right? And like aerospace, it's already a pretty specialized field of engineering, right? It's kind of,
Yep.
there's mechanical, and then more specialized from mechanical is aerospace.
Got it.
So once you're kind of in that field already, think anything there would be lovely. I would love to do that. Right?
Yeah. What do you say to the people that say it's over specialized? Because I hear this beef too. Once again, I was just looking a bit up about aerospace engineering.
Yeah, there's definitely people who say like a mechanical engineer can get any aerospace job,
Right.
which I hope is not the case. But yeah, if you become really good at what you do, right, I feel like there's always going to be a job for you, right? If you're like some mid aerospace engineer, sure, a really good mechanical engineer will take your spot.
Yeah.
But if you're good at what you do, there'll always be a place for you, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. If you're the best in the world at anything, people are gonna want to
Oh yeah, for sure.
talk to you for sure. Absolutely. You mentioned about you can tell whether it's a Boeing or a different
Airbus,
model, an
Embraer, or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All these types of things. I was wondering what you might have thought about these Boeing whistleblowers that are
Yeah.
dead as hell.
I actually have not really looked into that, but
No.
it kind of falls in line with like American capitalism and how they run everything, you know?
What do you mean?
Like if you try, like Boeing is this huge company. Like how long has it existed? Since like 1907 or something. and there's just so much money involved, so much investors, lots of old money in there. And if there's this whistleblower that could potentially lose all of that for these really rich people, really rich and powerful people, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be something that happens to them.
Absolutely. It's true.
Just,
And there's two of them. I don't know if you heard of
oh yeah,
there's
there's
two.
two. Yeah, they
That
just
were
disappeared.
both dead. John Barnett, I made sure to write it down. John Barnett, March 9th, shot himself, allegedly. Suicide
Yeah,
by
like
gunshot.
isn't like that what happened to Epstein?
Yeah, right. Epstein killed himself in jail for
Epstein.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. And Josh Dean, April 30th. I didn't hear about that one until I was looking it up today. He
No,
died from sudden illness.
sudden illness. Wow.
Yeah.
Suddenly passed away.
Suddenly passed away right after John Barnett.
Yeah, it's like when you go against the might of America, what do you expect to happen, right?
Yeah.
So you should be careful what you say, like especially on this podcast too. You don't want to slip up.
Absolutely.
Like online, anything can be heard across the world, right?
Yeah.
You got to be careful. Watch your mouth. Right?
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting because I think that especially with like these clips nowadays is that people can take things and chop it up and put it into whatever context they want. I just went yesterday. I was watching a movie at the theaters with my girlfriend, and it was Ryan Gosling. I don't know if you heard of it, The Fall Guy.
Yeah,
You've seen
yeah.
trailers
I've
for that
seen
one?
it. Yeah, I've seen the trailer or something.
I'm not trying to spoil anything, but there's a part in the movie where one of the people, they're trying to frame one of the people,
Yeah.
and they're able to deep fake the guy's face onto the bad guy
Right.
and make it look like he was the one who did it. And this is, once again, that's a movie, but it's happening in real life.
Oh yeah, like I've seen it on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok.
Yep.
They could make like the President Biden to do whatever, make him say whatever
Yep.
they want, like make his mouth move. Like,
Yep.
It's crazy how you have to be careful, right?
Absolutely.
And especially when you're like, I feel like my grandparents, if they saw something like that, they would believe it.
Oh, no, 100%. 100%. And you have to, if you're not aware of these things, and it's only going to get more and more realistic. Now you can still kind of tell
Yeah.
when like you have LeBron James talking about whatever.
Calculus. Right?
Yeah. It's like, okay, this is obviously AI. There's a lot of funny clips. I'm not gonna lie. It's a huge,
It's hilarious.
It's huge potential for comedy. I will say that Joe Biden AI clips and LeBron James, this stuff is actually pretty funny. But when it starts to get into things like framing people and fake, I guess, video evidence of things like wars, like we're talking about. Like another big reason that I don't even like discussing or commenting, at least on camera, about Israel Palestine is because who knows what's real. The people who are pro Palestine said that the pictures they took of the Israeli casualties were AI, and they're saying the same thing the other way.
Both sides.
It's like,
How do you know?
how do you know?
Like when you just look at a picture on Twitter or on X, I guess, for
Right.
like half a second, you already make your judgment, and you already like, I guess that positively confirms your belief, or it's like, oh, I don't want to believe that because that doesn't conform with what I believe in.
Yep.
Like just like a picture that could be generated by some 14-year-old kid in his basement, right?
Literally. Alex Kravchenko at home crafting up a Joe Biden deep fake. But yeah.
No, I could not even be here. It could be my deep fake.
Yeah, exactly. We could be doing deep fake podcasts this whole time, so I don't need to do any work.
That's true. You
But,
wouldn't know.
But yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. Let's shift gears here. Engineering, shift gears.
Yeah, smart.
You know what I mean?
You got it.
Let's talk about the original purpose or the original inspiration, I guess, for talking to you on this podcast. There was a TikTok account you ran for a bit. Troy showed me. I was like, this is pretty cool. A lot of the TikTok knowledge I have for posting has come from Troy, which is from you.
Okay.
About, reposting things and anyways, it worked pretty well for you. That was a business entrepreneurship endeavor that you
the
went
plan
on.
to make money.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is take Snowball Launcher on TikTok. The page is still up. It's my attempt in drop shipping.
Yep.
So everyone's heard of drop shipping, right?
Yep.
So I think 2 years ago, I was like, oh, I don't really have anything to do. Let me try this. Let me see if it works. So I watched all these videos, like how to drop ship. Like anyone, I'm sure everyone's watched a video on drop shipping. Like
Probably.
every guy.
Yeah.
So then I get
Trying to get rich.
Yeah, trying to get rich quick, right? found this product. It's so stupid. It's like a snowball launcher, right? So it's a slingshot, a regular slingshot, but it's encased into like a plastic shape that looks like a gun.
Yeah.
So you hold it, it looks like a gun.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like I paid like $25 for this thing, right? Shipping expedited, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't wait. And I have to make some ads, right? That's what drop shipping is. So I just start posting random things. Nothing works out. And then this was luckily when there was no snow outside.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, why don't I launch rocks out of this thing? Like that's a funny twist, right? Snowball launcher shooting rocks.
I saw that. Yeah.
That's so stupid. But I posted that and I go to sleep overnight, right? I wake up 5 a.m. The video has 20,000 views. Like
That's sick.
all of my other videos were at 500.
Yeah.
And then 20,000. I get to school, it's at 40,000. And then like 100, 500,000. And it keeps on going. I think it stopped at 3 million. And then, I was like, oh, this is how I make ads on this product. So I just copy pasted the same thing that worked. I made like 10 videos, right? And I got maybe a combined of like 30, 40 million views on TikTok.
Wow.
Complete luck, right? I just happened to stumble upon this like ingenious idea of shooting rocks out of a snowball launcher. And
TikTok.
but although this was the first product I ever tried drop shipping.
Yeah.
So I did not understand how it works, and I didn't like monetize it properly. I didn't like have a call to action at the end of the video.
Right.
So people who watched the video, watched the TikTok, like, oh, this is just a stupid joke. They didn't realize I was selling it.
Right.
So after like millions of views, I had 0 sales.
Damn.
Drop shipping. Like, okay, maybe it was a fluke.
Yeah.
I gave it a go. I did like maybe 5 more products. I was never able to recreate the same overnight.
The glory days.
Same overnight glory I had, so I kind of just gave up.
That's tough.
Unfortunately, but it made me realize that like all these online business ideas, they do work if you are committed and like better than 95% or 99% of everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Like if I continued drop shipping or like trying to make ads for products, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I could have actually made money.
Yeah.
But I gave it a go for 3 months and it's kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give it the long run, but that's kind of what you have to do. Like if I can get lucky once, I'm sure I can get lucky again, right?
Yeah. And you create your own luck too. That's the
Yeah.
thing. This is not my own, I guess, quote or saying, but the idea is that if you show up every day, not every day is going to be a lucky day, but
For sure.
they're sprinkled in there in the calendar. There's maybe 5 or 6 lucky days in the entire year that you're going to come across something big. And the only way to actually get lucky is to just be consistent.
You have to be there. I think I heard that from
work
your
every day.
podcast. You said it earlier.
Yeah.
Like luck is created essentially, right? If you are doing something for say 100 days, maybe 1% of the time you get lucky. That's one day you get lucky and things go in your favor.
Right.
And then you can grow on from that and it grows exponentially.
Yeah.
But if you're not even there to begin with, right? You have no chance at all. It's better to try and get lucky than just to give up. You know?
Yeah.
That's kind of, I feel like that's how almost all YouTubers, they're kind of uploading small videos that aren't really popping off. And then one video pops.
Yeah.
It goes crazy. And then they copy that format. They kind of copy paste that. And then another one of those does even better.
Mm-hmm.
And they just learn exponentially from that.
Yeah.
So you just got to create your luck, right?
Absolutely. Something that made it click for me was thinking about like all of your favorite YouTubers, all of your favorite musicians, all of your favorite actors. When you heard them for the first time,
Oh, they were whack.
or not even when they're whack. I mean, like when you came across them first,
Okay.
they were already famous.
Exactly.
They were likely already famous. Like there's no way like who's your favorite artist?
Sure, whatever. We'll just say Drake.
Okay, Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle of this beef. That's a pretty
Okay.
that's a pretty confident move.
Honestly, I don't even know what this beef is.
Yeah, no, me neither. But Drake, okay, let's say Drake. There's no way that you saw Drake when he was 16. I don't know when he started.
No,
But when you saw Drake, it was probably because maybe you heard a song of him on the radio
Already,
or
yeah.
your friends were talking about him. He was already huge.
Mm-hmm.
None of the biggest, most successful people that you love now, you came across when they had 100 YouTube subscribers,
chances,
200.
like, statistically, you can't
Exactly.
stumble across them. across them,
exactly.
right?
So that's just proof. If you're trying to start something up, if you're trying to do drop shipping, you're trying to do a podcast, you're going to have to kind of truck through the mud
A
for
lot
a long
of time.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was following this one YouTuber, right? He started a year before me and continued while I was doing it, right? So when I quit, kind of, he still wasn't making any money. But when I checked up on him in 6 months after, he was like, he blew up. He was making like maybe 10 grand a month.
Wow.
But that was 2 years of straight losses, straight failure. But he, like you said, trucked through the mud.
Yeah.
And now he's making a lot of money off of that.
It's
That's
awesome.
kind of like basically with everything, right?
Yeah.
Like if, again, YouTube, you can, I'm sure if you do YouTube for 5 years consistently, there's no way you don't blow up, right?
Yeah.
It's just most people, they give up after like a few videos because you're like, oh, this is never going to work.
Yeah.
But they don't see the hard work. All the, like you said, Drake, he was, how many songs do you think he made before they actually were good?
Yeah.
Hundreds, right? Probably even thousands.
Mm.
But you never see that.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a good point. Other business endeavors.
Other business endeavors. I guess the next one that I tried would be flipping cars, right? So,
When did you stop that?
I'm still doing it.
You're still doing that?
Yeah,
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, so aerospace engineering, I'm kind of into that mechanical side. I've
Yeah.
loved cars, love watching videos on cars all the time. And I really want to get my hands dirty with some oil.
Yeah.
So last summer,
Sounds a little suspect. Yeah, keep going.
okay, engine oil, fine.
Yeah, okay. there
Last summer, me and my buddy Noah Dunstan,
Yep.
we found this $800 Civic on Kijiji. And it wasn't running. It was like somewhere in Orangeville. So you're like, okay, this could be a really fun thing for summer. And if we do it properly, we could make money. And you realistically won't lose anything because you can scrap a car for like 800. So basically had no risk. So we bought the car and we thought we just had to maybe like change a couple spark plugs, give it an oil change, and
Yeah,
it should
yeah.
fire right up. But we were so wrong. So we it took us like a week to figure out what was wrong, and the whole top end of the engine was completely destroyed. So we had to get a new engine, clean it up, put a new one in, and then we didn't install it properly, so take it all apart, put it back in.
Yeah.
So after about 3 months of work, we sold it for $2,000. We put like, say $600 into it, so we made like 300 profit.
Yeah.
But for like probably putting 60 hours into that,
Yeah.
not too profitable.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So it's another thing. Like you can't expect to hop into something and make money right away.
Yeah.
So like, oh, and I thought to myself, maybe this car flipping doesn't work. So then I'm like, oh, whatever. So spring comes along, I buy another car. This time a more fancy car, like a BMW Z3, a convertible, manual, checks all the boxes, right? Rear wheel drive. Bought it for $2,000. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a fun car.
Yeah.
And maybe if I flip it, if I fix it good enough, I can resell it for more. And I kind of got my emotions take control of me, and I didn't, see all the red flags of the car.
Got it.
It was salvaged in Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah, and clean title in Ontario.
Yeah.
So that's fraud right there. When you import a car and it's salvaged in the States, it's supposed to be rebuilt here.
Got it.
So I was like, oh, clean title, who cares? So I start working on it. I do everything I need to get a safety, right? So I take it to the shop. He's like, oh, you have frame damage. I'm like, what? Frame damage is something you cannot fix.
Yeah.
You have to like pull it up. You have to, because the frame damage is when the frame of the car is like compressed.
Yeah.
You have to like uncompress it. But how am I supposed to uncompress metal?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, damn. I knew that. Salvage in Tennessee, right? So that's what the Carfax said.
Yeah.
So then I just sold that car and I didn't make any money.
That's fair.
Yeah. But I've learned a lot.
That's good.
So if I maybe buy a third car or a fourth car, definitely should be some room to make money.
Yep.
But again, it's just time in the business, in the market. You have to understand how everything works.
Yeah.
Like everyone who is on Facebook is trying to make Facebook Marketplace is trying to make money over someone, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to butt heads. So I have to be better than 99% of the people there to make like a living off flipping cars, which
Literally.
is going to take time, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And a very important thing is to not like industry hop. Basically, go. I'm going to be an aerospace engineer. Oh, actually, no. I want to start this
Exactly, yeah.
business. Oh, maybe I want to do an accountant thing. Like, it's the same whether it's business, whether it's relationships. The longer you can stick in the shitty,
The mud.
the mud
Yeah.
and the just the ramp up, because it's the steepest at the bottom, and then when you get up, you're gone.
You're gone. Like another thing, I did YouTube too, like you were talking about it earlier.
Yeah,
I just made stupid gaming videos, but I enjoyed doing it.
yeah,
So I made like maybe 20 videos. It had no traction at all. And I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I quit, right?
yeah.
3 months later, YouTube randomly decides to blow up my content. Like it grew, like my videos had maybe an average 100 views. Like over 3 weeks, it went from 100 to like 5,000.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. The YouTube algorithm just blessed me.
Yeah.
But I already was long gone with YouTube.
Right.
I quit. If I continue doing that, I could imagine I'll be making money already, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, industry hopping is what killed me.
Yeah, yeah, literally. And like obviously when we're young, you're just trying to figure things
Yeah.
out. It's not as bad now, but like as soon as once again you're out of university or out of school, you're ready to start your career. It's like you kind of got to. This is the thing. This is why people criticize that kids are getting into university so young. Like you're 17. Some kids are 17 when they're starting university, and you're supposed to kind of know your direction from there.
It's really tough.
It is tough, and I think that you can take a bit of time in university to figure it out. I just went into the I guess program that I thought would be the most useful,
Yeah, what are you doing?
economics.
Economic. Okay.
And I
very
was
general.
you're interested in this too, are you
Yeah.
not? Yeah, economics, stocks, this kind of thing.
Mhm.
What has you thinking about that? Like if your engineering seems kind of unrelated.
I don't know. It's just like money, right?
Yeah.
Economics, money. Like I've dabbled in stocks.
Yeah.
I haven't made money at all.
Yeah. You're one of those guys. You're like, you see those memes where it's like me coming to the day after school after I just made 5 cents on my
Yeah, I have a
crypto.
net loss, a big net loss. I'll just say that I won't give numbers, but it's a big net loss.
Okay.
But yeah, to make money on stocks, you kind of have to understand the economy, and everyone wants to make money, right?
Yeah.
Kind of understand what are the factors that influence the movement, like what's the underlying reason why, like XYZ decided to do this, like what is a merger, what is all these specific business terms.
Yep.
I'm sure you probably know them, right? In general.
In general,
Yeah.
a few things. Maybe don't quiz me, but yeah. Do a lot of people like? I know Troy's interested in the same thing. Like he was doing his window cleaning thing last summer,
Yeah, exactly.
and I don't know if a lot of high school kids are interested in the same things you guys are in terms of like trying to hustle and make money like this. Like I feel like it's a lot of video games and a lot of just hanging out and
Yeah, I don't
this
know
kind of thing.
why like me and Troy are like that. I don't know. It's maybe because we just had nothing to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would say 2 years ago, I had no friends.
Fair.
I was like, maybe if I make all this money, I'll get validation from others. And then, yeah, that was like when I had kind of low confidence, I would say.
Right.
Like, oh, maybe if I make all this money with these business techniques, I'll get validation from others. But now that I feel like I've gained confidence, I realize that, oh, maybe that won't really give me confidence, right? So I kind of stopped doing it. I feel like most like successful people, they started what they were doing when they were insecure. They wanted some validation.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
wanted something. Like Mr. Beast, you look at him when he started YouTube.
Yeah.
He was kind of like a nerd in the basement, right? I don't
Yep.
think he had much like socialization with others. Probably didn't have too much friends.
Yep.
And he started YouTube as a way to like get that like social validation, and it worked out for him, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And a key thing with him is that he was obsessive.
He was, yeah.
He was on it every single day, hours and hours a day. And if you can, once again, if you can dedicate yourself to the same craft,
The same thing.
not getting into a different industry and just hammer away, I don't understand how you wouldn't get to in a astronomical level, talking about aerospace, as he did. Obviously, biggest YouTuber. He's about to pass T-Series.
Yeah, I think he's worth like 10, 15 billion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Started off in his basement, right? That's like zero to hero. That's the great story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's been a good conversation. Just about ready to wrap up.
Sure, yeah.
if you had to speak with your graduated self, so in 4 years, is it a 4-year program?
4-year plus co-op.
Okay, 4-year plus co-op. So at the end of all that, if you had to come back and watch this podcast again, what would you say to yourself? What do you want to say to yourself?
Yeah, I would definitely say don't switch up, right? Don't, like you said, industry hop, because if you stay in the same thing and get good enough at your craft, you'll definitely have some success from it. Like, I hope when I don't go into university, I'll be like, oh, this is difficult.
Yeah.
Let me try, I don't know, something that's easier. And then when I start something that's easier, like, oh, I don't really like this. And then keep on switching. And eventually, 5 years later, you'll just have someone who has a bunch of little stuff.
Yeah.
Not one big thing. You know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Carter.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Pleasure.
Alex Kravchenko. This is VoV episode 61, incoming TMU student. Hit him up. And I hope you enjoy your...
Socials are listed below.
Yep.
Right.
Show yourself out. Show yourself out.
I don't even know what my Instagram tag is.
Okay. we'll tag you in all the posts.
Sure.
Don't worry. Get some stuff made up. But yeah, do you have any final thoughts? Just something you want to share?
Final thoughts. It's pretty crazy. I don't know. First podcast, so maybe more to come.
Absolutely.
Everyone, hop on. Fill out your links, applications,
Guest
right?
form, yeah.
Definitely. Maybe have some interesting takes.
Absolutely.
Right? All right.
If you're interested, once again, in a part 2, once you've been in TMU,
Sure. Yeah, maybe like
you can come on campus. I'll bring you over to U of T. You can come to
we're
our
nearby.
residence.
Like
Yeah.
10
It's
minute
pretty
subway.
close.
Yeah.
10-minute subway, literally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'd be cool. Awesome, man.
All right.
Ladies
Pleasure.
and gentlemen, follow on Instagram at Voices of Vic. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you next Sunday. Peace out.
Peace out. Bye.